My husband and I were in an argument, and he shot me, and then he killed himself.
A woman makes a chilling call to 911 on the worst day of her life.
I don't think I'm gonna make it. Oh my God, help me please.
The young wife and mother moans as she pleads for help, saying her husband tried to kill her.
Where did he shoot you at?
I don't know, I'm bleeding all over.
What really happened in that tiny room at the home of Janel Boer and her husband, Greg?
When in our combined 40 years have we ever heard of the intended target of a murder-suicide survive?
On the surface, Janel and Greg seem to live a storybook life. Janel worked days at the post office, Greg the third shift at a major pharmaceutical company. It was the second marriage for both. Greg's daughter Lily from his first marriage lived with them.
Lily, what do you want us to know about your dad?
He was such a good man. He was one of those really good people that's hard to come across now, it seems.
That sentiment is echoed by Greg's younger brother Chad and his wife Natalie.
He was that guy that would put down what he was doing no matter what, no matter when, and help anybody he could in any way he could.
Together, Greg and Janel had a young son, Jason, and their combined income of $100,000 meant they could live on 12 acres in Scotts, Michigan, where they could practice their hobby. Guns. But their shared love for the Second Amendment and Greg's weapons collection wasn't all guns and roses for the rest of his family.
When he met Janel, do you remember when she started coming around?
He introduced us to her, and we were, okay, you know, I mean, great, I'm happy that you're happy. But it didn't take long for us to see there was something off about her.
In what way?
She was very distant. She didn't really want the acceptance. She wanted Greg to herself.
They were so clingy and stuck to each other that it was kind of awkward sometimes.
They ended up eloping to Las Vegas. Janel, the blushing bride in a white gown, Greg, the man in black.
So you didn't want Dad to marry her?
No, I didn't really like her that much at the time already because she just seemed super distant and it was strange. It very soon became that she didn't want anything to do with me and ignored me most of the time.
That must have been hell.
Yeah, it was. She wouldn't look at me or speak to me or anything. She'd walk right past me and pretend I didn't exist.
Greg's mother, Sharon, says Janel took a scary turn once the ring was on her finger.
It seemed like after they got married and after my grandson was born, things started changing pretty rapidly. She had managed to act like a different person up to a certain point, and then look out, here came the monster.
That's what you call her?
Yes.
4 years after the wedding, Greg filed for divorce, citing a breakdown of the marriage relationship. He asked for joint custody of Jason and moved downstairs, sleeping on a mattress in what they called the gun room. But on that fateful Valentine's Day, Janel comes home for lunch and the couple gets into an argument, one that will end their marriage forever.
Okay, where did he shoot himself at?
It looks like in his head.
Police dashcam footage shows the Kalamazoo County, Michigan deputies speeding through traffic on the highways and on the back roads to get to Janel's remote property. As they pull up to the house at the end of the dirt driveway, Janel is already outside waiting for them, nursing her bloody and injured arm. Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Detective Sergeant Warren Meisner was one of the first on the scene.
And I remember quickly them loading her in the ambulance and me providing that security for a victim of a murder-suicide.
I'm just gonna take some photos. Just tell them to hold off until I get some pictures.
Once inside the house, investigators take dozens of photos in the gun room. With so many guns, rifles, and ammo, it looks like an armory. And a pool of blood marks the spot where Janel says Greg shot himself. As detectives process the crime scene, Janel is in the ambulance on the way to the hospital in nearby Kalamazoo, consenting to a recorded interview with Sergeant Meisner.
You know where you're going?
Hansen Hospital.
Okay. You know why?
Because I got shot.
What happened today? That's
I just came home on my lunch break. I've been trying to beg him to not get divorced. And he's got really mad, really angry with me because I had told my attorney, I showed them pictures of my husband had been abusing our son and he'd been abusing me. He just started shooting like a whole bunch.
Accusations were flying, but Meisner was suddenly taken aback during the ride.
I was surprised right from the just asking basic biographical questions. Her calmness, her demeanor, it just struck me.
Someone just tried to kill her. She's been shot in the arm, and she's calm.
Yeah, absolutely.
The next day, from her hospital bed, Janel gives Sergeant Meisner and his colleague a second recorded interview explaining her version of events.
I slapped him across the head with my open hand like that. He just went crazy. He grabbed the gun and shot at me.
how many times?
I don't know.
How many times do you think?
At least 2, maybe 3. He said, I'm gonna kill you for what you've done. And I assume that is for me telling my attorney and people that he abused our child. And he abused me mentally, physically, and emotionally. And I kicked it, and it fell like off to the side.
You don't look like a karate master or anything.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
I just kicked it with my foot.
Janel claims that's when Greg grabbed a second gun off the shelf and shot at her several times.
How about him?
I think he was in the middle of the bed.
In the middle of the bed with both feet on the bed or one on one?
I think he had both feet in the middle of the bed. Like he shot me, killed me, and he took his own life. That's what it looked like to me. He must have thought, okay, I shot and killed my wife, so I'm going to take myself out.
It all sounded so plausible at first, but now, listen closely. As the interview wraps up, Janel motions for the detective to hug her.
Yeah, I can't hug you right now, okay? I'm sorry.
My partner and I left the trauma room, and I turned to him and I said, that was my aha moment. She's trying to sell me this story.
Next, it's like an episode of CSI. Detectives pull out their protractors and use trigonometry, lasers, and a secret spray to verify Janel's story.
We know that's a physical impossibility.
Science will answer the questions investigators are asking. Is this suicide or is it murder?
Did you believe Janel's story that he tried to kill her?
Not for a second.